Hello, welcome back. Once again, this is teacher Jesse, and today I will be discussing with you another topic in math, which is all about multiplying fractions by whole numbers and mixed numbers. Okay, let's start with the drill. Can you add or subtract the following fractions mentally? I will give you an example first before we start. Let's have 1/9 plus 1/5. So we are going to apply the butterfly method. Just cross multiply. 1 times 5 is 5. 9 times 1 is 9. And then since it is addition, then 5 plus 9 is equal to, I'm sorry, 9 plus times 5 is equal to 45. So just cross multiply and then get the products also of the denominators. And then since it is addition, then we add 5 plus 9 is equal to 14, and then copy the denominator, which is 45, and then reduce our answer with into lowest terms. Since it is already in the simplest form or lowest terms, then it is just our final answer. Okay, so let's have more exercises. Are you ready? Let's start. You have 1/9 plus 1/10. Start. Okay, so the correct answer is 10 times 1 is 10, and then 1 times 9 is 9, or 9 times 10 is 90. So, or you can simply add this one. 9 times, since the numerators are 1, so 9 plus 10 is equal to 19, and then copy the denominator 90. Okay, let's have another one. 1/3 minus 1/5. Go. Okay, so it is 5 plus 3 is equal to 5 minus 3 rather is equal to 2 over 15. Okay, next. 2/5 plus 1/6. This time they are no longer unit fractions, so you need to cross multiply. Start. Okay, so 2 times 6 is 12, and 5 times 1 is 5. 12 plus 5 is 17. And then 5 times 6 is equal to 30. So 17 over 30. Okay, great job. Okay, this time I will be discussing with you how to visualize multiplication of fractions, because this is our main topic for today. So let's start with a problem opener. We have Alan spent 1/2 of an hour doing his assignment. He spent 2/3 of it doing math. How much did he spend doing his assignment in math? Okay, so this is an example of a problem which needs multiplication of fractions. You need to multiply 1/2 times 2/3. So 1/2 of an hour, we know that it is 30 minutes, and 2/3 of the 30 minutes is the time which Alan spent in doing its math. But we are not asking, the problem is not asking for how many minutes, but how much did he spend. So it means we can answer it in fraction form. Now the question is, how are we going to multiply 1/2 times 2/3? Let's start with multiplying using diagrams, or this is what we call visualizing multiplication of fractions. So the first thing that we are going to do is we can draw this 1/2. Okay, or we can draw 2/3 first. Okay, anyway, multiplying is, there is a commutative property, which means you can multiply either this is the first one, 1/2 times 2/3, or 2/3 times 1/2, which will yield to the same result. Okay, so let's start with 1/2. So this is, of course, 1/2. So this is the time spent for doing all the assignments. Now we are going to multiply it with 2/3. So we know 2/3 means 2 shaded parts out of 3 parts. This time we are going to draw another fraction, or the same another fraction from this one, but it is in the opposite direction to the other one. Since we divided it this way vertically, then the other one should be horizontally. So we are going to divide into 2/3 like this. So a while ago we divided it with 2 parts into parts. This time we are going to divide the same figure into 3 parts. So as you can see, there are already 6 parts. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Of course, because our LCD, our last topics during our past topics, we have this is what we call LCD, and the LCD of 1/2 and 2/3 is 6. Okay, 2 times 3 is 6. So we have 6 parts already. Now, what we are going to do is we just need to shade 2/3. So this time we are going to use another color. Okay, we're going to use the color blue, and then blue and yellow will give us green. So as you can see, this is 1/3, and then since it is a combination of yellow and blue, then it becomes green. And then another part, because it is 2/3, then we have 1 and 2 out of 3 parts, then you have 2/3. Next thing that we are going to do is we are going to count how many shaded parts, how many parts are shaded with the combination of the two colors. This time there are only 2 shaded parts, becomes green, combination of blue and yellow. Therefore, we can say that it is 2 out of 6 parts. And since we can express it into simplest forms, then we just divide the numerator and the denominator by 2, which is the GCF. So 2 divided by 2 is equal to 1, and 6 divided by 2 is equal to 3. Or we can figure out there are, it could be written as 1/3 by visualizing. This is one part, this is another part. So we have 2 parts already, and then if imagine we combine these two, this is another part. So we have 1 shaded part out of 3 parts. Okay? So this is how to visualize multiplication of fractions. Let's have another example. We have, what is 1/4 of 3/5? So if we encounter a problem like this, 1/4 of a certain number or a fraction of a certain number, it is involving multiplication of fractions. So by visualizing it, we can draw a diagram of 3/5 first, because we are looking for 1/4 of this particular fraction. So we are going to draw 3/5. Okay, so this is 3/5, 3 out of 5 parts, divided vertically, and then we are going to draw 1/4. So this time we are going to draw it horizontally. So we divide it into 4 parts, and as you can see, there are already how many parts? You have 4 times 5 is 20. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times 1, 2, 3, 4. So 20 parts. The LCD is of course 20. Next is we are going to shade 1/4, because a while ago we had 3/5. This time we are going to draw 1/4. Do not be confused. You might be you might think of 3/5 instead of 1/4. So we are going to draw 1/4 this time. So 4 parts, it means this is 1 part from here going to here. So we are going to shade that portion, and we use yellow, and the combination of yellow and red is orange. So as you can see, there are 3 parts which are shaded with the combination of the 2 colors. Therefore, there are 3 out of 20 parts, which is the intersection. So our answer must be 3/20. And then since we cannot reduce this into lowest term, we cannot, or in this, we cannot divide them by a common factor. So this is already our final answer. So 1/4 times 3/5, or 1/4 of 3/5, is equal to 3/20. Okay, so that is how to visualize multiplication of fractions. However, we cannot always draw fractions. There are numbers which are certainly big. Therefore, we need to learn the different steps in multiplying fractions without using the diagrams. Okay, so that will be the one which we are going to discuss right now. Okay, we have the step number 1. Multiply the numerators. Okay, let's take for example this given problem, and we are expecting for the answer of 1/3. Okay, so we have 1/2 times 2/3. 2/3. Okay, 1/2 times 2/3. Multiply the numerator. So 1 times 2. So just simply multiply. It is 2. And then step number 2. Multiply the denominators. Okay, so denominators. So 2 times 3 is equal to 6. And then step number 3 is simplify your answer. As shown here, you can divide by 2. So divide by 2 is 1, and then 6 divided by 2 is 3. We have the same answer, which is 1/3. So this is, or these are the steps in multiplying fractions. We can also apply a technique in multiplying fractions in case of this. In case of problems like this, as you can see, 2 and 2 can be divided by a common factor, and we can divide them by a common factor, and that is what we call the cancellation technique. So we are going to divide this by 2 and then divide by 2. This becomes 2 divided by 2 is 1, and this becomes 2 divided by 2 is 1. So 1 times the new number, which is 1, is equal to 1. And then 1 times the times 3 is equal to 3. That is a shortcut, and that will be topic that I will be discussing to you, the cancellation technique. So like for example, 5/8 times 3/5. Okay, this technique is used so that you can save time and you are going to avoid errors, because when we deal with large numbers, we are prone to errors. Okay, so like this, if we are going to multiply 5 times 3 is 15 and 8 times 5 is 40, we can still reduce 5 times 15 over 40. So instead of doing that, we can simply cancel out. So 5 and 5, they are cancelled out, they become 1 and 1. So 1 times 3 is equal to 3, and 8 times 1 is equal to 8. You see, it is faster and it is much convenient for us to use. That is 3/8. This is the cancellation technique. It's your turn. Are you ready to do the cancellation technique? I will give you a few seconds. You can pause the video if you need more time. Okay, let's start. 9/11 times 5/9. Start. Okay, obviously it is 5 over 11. Next, we have 6/7 times 5/6. Start. Okay, so the answer is 5 over 7. Next, 2/9 times 3/4. Okay, so this is 1 divided by 2 is 1, and this is 2. So 1 times 3 is 3, and then I'm sorry, we can cancel out also this one. This becomes 3, this becomes 1 divided by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 9 divided by 3 rather is 3. So 1 times 1 is 1, and then 3 times 2 is 6. 1/6. How about this one? 5/10 times 5/10. Start. Okay, so this becomes 2, and this becomes 2 also. So 1 times 1 is 1, and 2 times 2 is equal to 4. Okay, how about this one? Okay, so just cancel out this 4. We have also the 5s, and we have the 2s, and we have also the 5s. So we have 1 over 1, which is equal to 1. Okay, very good. This time we are going to multiply fractions by whole numbers and mixed numbers. So we know already the different rules. We are going to multiply the numerators and then write the product over the product also of the denominators, and then simplify the answer. But there are cases wherein we are multiplying with whole numbers and mixed numbers, wherein we need to identify first the numerators and the denominators, and I will be discussing with you that one, or those cases. We have case number 1, multiplying fraction by a whole number, or vice versa. We have a whole number by a fraction. Okay, so in this case, the first thing that we are going to do, like for example, multiply 1/4 by 5, is just write a denominator of 1. When it is a whole number, it is understood to have a denominator of 1, because 5 divided by 1 is equal to 5. So we did not change anything. So just apply the rule. 5 times 1 is equal to 5, and then 4 times 1 is equal to 4. And since it is an improper fraction, we need to rewrite this into a mixed number. Okay, so we have 5 divided by 4 is equal to 1, and then 1 times 4 is equal to 4. 5 minus 4 is equal to 1, and then you take this as the numerator, and this is the denominator, so the answer is 1, and the remainder 1, and the denominator, so 1 and 1/4. Okay, it's your turn. Case number 1, multiply 1/5 by 6. Start. Okay, so you have 1/5 times 6 over 1. So 1 times 6 is 6. 5 times 1 is 5. And then 6 divided by 5 is 1 and 1/5. Okay, very good. Next, Case number 2, multiplying a fraction by a mixed number or a mixed number by a fraction. So vice versa. Okay, or you can also apply a mixed number by a mixed number. The same rule will apply. Okay, we have first is, of course, since we are dealing with a mixed number. If it is a mixed number, then we are going to rename this or change this into an improper fraction. And to do that, it is 3 times 2 is equal to 6 plus 1 is equal to 7. And then copy the denominator, which is 2. So this becomes our new fraction, 7 over 2. Okay, so we have 1/4 times 7 over 2, and then apply the rule. 1 times 7 is 7, 4 times 2 is 8. And this is the lowest terms, so we have 7/8. It's your turn again. You can pause the video if you need more time. Multiply 3/5 by 2.5. Start. Okay, so you have 2 and 1/2 is 2 times 2 is 4, and plus 1 is 5, and then 5 over 2. 3/5 times 5 over 2. 3 times 5 is 15. 5 times 2 is 10. We can divide. Divide by 5. 15 divided by 5 is, or we can simply apply cancellation here. So 3 over 2. So we have 3 divided by 2. And then since it is in improper fraction, we change this into, or write this into a mixed number. 3 divided by 2 is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. So it is 1.5 or 1 and 1/2. Okay. Very good. Great job. Next. Okay, I'm sorry. That's it for today's lesson. Anyway, if you are dealing with mixed numbers, what I've said, mixed numbers and mixed numbers, or whole number by mixed number, the same rule will apply. You are going to, if it is a whole number, then it is understood to have a denominator 1. If it is a mixed number, then you need to change it into an improper fraction. And remember, in your final answer, there should be no number common factor that can divide the numerator and the denominator, so that you can say that your answer is in the simplest form. And another one, express your answer in mixed number in case it is an improper fraction. That's it for today's lesson. See you next time. Thank you very much for watching.